Hi, this is Mr. Guy, and we're going to be talking about public opinion mostly and how to measure public opinion with a little bit about mass media. But most of this is about doing polling, political polls, straw polls, and elections. Public opinion is a complex collection of opinions of many different people. It's very hard to gauge, it's very hard to measure. It's used to suggest that most American people hold the same view on some public issue like global warming, deficit spending, the military, and so on. Many publics exist in the United States. National health insurance program, capital punishment should be abolished. These are different types of opinions that people might have. Public opinion includes only those views that relate to public affairs, politics, public issues, and so on. Those attitudes held by a significant number of people on matters of government and politics, that's the definition of public opinion. The influence of public opinion would be your family, would be the schools. A lot of times it's elementary school, but it might even be our government class. The mass media, whether it's CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, or it might be the Twitter, Snapchat, those kind of things, whether it's Google, newspapers, magazines, internet, TV. Peer groups will definitely affect your public opinion, what you believe on certain issues, whether it's your friends versus your family. Opinion leaders, people who have a strong influence on the views of others. That might be Ben Shapiro, that might be Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh. If you're on the liberal side, it might be Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes, and then you might have Anderson Cooper. And then historic events, that might be the Great Depression, 9/11, and so on. They affect how we actually do, and possibly the coronavirus would be a new one coming up as a basic historic event for us being basically sequestered and changed with our lifestyle. We measure public opinion by elections, by interest groups, by the media, by public opinion polls, whether they're scientific polls or straw polls or internet polls. So elections are the best measure of public opinion because it basically says how you voted, who did you want for election, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. Um, Interest groups, they're private organizations whose members share certain views and objectives, work to shape the making of public policy, and they try to frame this and do this. They'll give report cards, like the NRA will give a report card of politicians on their rating A, B, C, D, E, F. A is somebody that relates exactly to what the NRA believes. F is somebody that does not. The media will talk about public opinion, will basically show polls, take polls, and do those kind of things. Then you have public opinion polls like Gallup poll. There's also Pew Research. There's a few polls that do it that are basically nonpartisan, and then you do have the Democratic Party, Republican Party that have a little bit of a bias. Straw polls are polls that basically look at what is the public's mind by asking them a question. It might be a poll that I give you in class that asks you to say, what do you think? It might be a radio station, a TV, newspaper. It might be an online poll. That's not scientific. It's not a good measure of the public at whole. It's just those people that got to it. And then there is scientific polling. The scientific polling basically has random samples, random surveys. So you have a universe, it might be the United States population. So if the United States population is your universe, then a sample is a representative slice of the universe. Random sample means they have an equal chance of being selected. A quota is deliberately constructed to reflect the universe. So that may be 15% of the population is African American. So 15% of my sample is African American. Hispanics are 30% of the population. So in my poll, they're 30%. You must have valid questions because sometimes the questions can skew what your answers are. You must select and control how the poll will be taken and analyze the reports and findings to the public. Mass media, they serve as a medium, the communication, they transfer information. It's through television, newspapers, radio, magazines, and now typically we have social media. We have basically not only Google, Yahoo, but there's apps like Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook all have the news. There's also basically memes. There's things that people report themselves and they share with each other with that. The public agenda. basically is what the policies, things that are happening from the government, what is actually being looked at. So the media gives attention to social, political, and economic issues, emphasizes some issues, ignores others. So typically, right now, we're looking at coronavirus, we're looking at the election, but we're ignoring climate change, we're ignoring other things. Tells you what not to think, what to think about different issues, and they filter information. So the public agenda is filtered through the media. The media serves as a watchdog. They check the government, they give information to the people, and they basically say, here is a scandal, here's something that you need to look at. So the media looks at um, information as a gatekeeper. They to tell you what to look at, what to see, what's there. They're a watchdog and they're also a scorekeeper. And they give us polls. They give us who's winning, who's losing, someone like that. So those are basically the roles of the media. So this was media and public opinion. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And thank you so much.